partner, my co-host, Cowboy Joe 64.
I am your father.
Just to get the Cowboys 2 good games to hopefully understand that they need to go receiver and go high with this next pick.
Yeah, yeah, that's really what this is gonna be about.
All right. You're looking live, Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks. I'm the host, DJ I Tell You What. Join my co-host, my dad, Cowboy Joe, also known as Cowboy Joe 64 on Twitter. And we are back with another one. It's been a while. It's been a couple weeks. Well, not a couple weeks, but it's been
A few
what
days.
last week? Yeah, what we do last week? We did last Wednesday, I think, something like that. And so yeah, we supposed to come back this weekend, but man, we had such a long weekend and such a fun weekend, and a lot of interesting things that happened this weekend that we just had a blast this weekend. This is one of them weekends that that you have that we had back in the day, but it was just a typical summer weekend, man. We had a real good weekend, and so we blessed, and we blessed to be back with y'all and talk about a few things during this dead period. I know a lot of things jumping off in the NBA, a lot of things jumping off in the NFL as well. And there's a couple Cowboy stories out there that I've seen that I'm interested in, that I've been reading out throughout the day. And so we can chop it up about a few of those things. And we also want to chop it up about what we did Saturday at my cousin Colin Simmons' camp, featuring Michael Parsons. Michael was there. And so, man, we had a great time, man. And so you want to say what's up to the people and kind of debrief and let them know what we've been up to and what we're going to talk about today?
So yeah, what's up to the people? So glad to be back on. And so as you mentioned, Saturday was a pretty cool day. So we did attend Colin Simmons, Texas Longhorn first camp that he had, and he did one for the special needs kids in Duncanville at Duncanville High School, where he played football, of course, and one of the best players to ever wear the Duncanville uniform for sure. Probably is the best.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I don't think I know any other.
Yeah,
He probably is
he's
the
the best.
best. Yeah.
So the camp was really neat. The way everything it was laid out. So shout out to his mom Monica and her team. And I know these kind of events they're not easy to put on when you got to look at all of the details, the signage and the goodie bags, and then get all of the volunteers set up. And it was just extremely well done.
Yeah.
All the kids enjoyed it. The volunteers enjoyed it, and it was just a great day. Uh, so my grandson, your son, participated. He had just a super time, and I got to connect with some other people that we had seen and met over the years. So it was just a tremendous event, especially for the community that we live in. This area. I'm not really sure we've had an event like that for this area. Not one that I know of. So it was a really special day and a special event. And it when you look at what type of kids were invited, and they don't get a lot of attention, and so just to put the spotlight on them at this event. And Colin was terrific with all of the kids. um, and then Micah showed up, and that was also exciting. So shout out to Monica and Colin and their team. Shout out to Micah Parsons for coming through, and Micah came through, and he just he fit right in. He didn't come in and try to big time people or try to he just
No,
fit right in.
he
Yeah.
actually did the opposite. So and I wanted to say, like, so a part of our family thing is we do a lot of work in the community. My uncle Paul, which is Colin's granddad, which is Monica's dad. He started a foundation, and for me at least, he put help in the community in the forefront of my brain, just kind of piggybacking and having fun with him and working in the community. But Monica has definitely taking that torch, and she taking that torch. She showed up. She's like Superwoman. So you don't understand, a lot of the people don't understand a lot of the things. You just see the finished product, but a lot of things in the background have to go into these events, and a lot of things have to go into raising an athlete, and especially someone as talented as Colin. So Monica is superwoman. She's definitely a role model. Like I said, she motivates me, and then just seeing how things came turned out was just amazing to me. And it's just a testament of hard work. And Monica, that's who she is. She's a go-getter, and she's a special person. She's one of them ones for sure. So she my big cousin, so she's definitely uh leading the charge as far as working in the community with as far as our family goes. And so, like I said, uh it's just hats off to her, because everything turned out perfect. And it was really, she was the one that put a lot everything together for the most part. And then Colin, you talked about how Micah and how Colin was with the kids. Colin was great with the kids. And if you've known Colin, like how I've known Colin and we've known Colin, he's like he's not like an all in your face type of guy. He's very humble, always has been very humble. He's shy. He doesn't really like to, what I'm saying? He ain't like that. But to see how he's interacted with the kids and how he was just bringing the best out of them, and how everything was just on par, everything, how it's perfect, how he works with the kids, his feedback, his thoughts, how he got the kids motivated, and the type of kids that he's working with, and all kids in general. Colin blew my mind, and the way his presentation was, and how he was just, so hats off to Colin. As y'all can see, we got him in the background playing on the highlights. And then, we talk about Micah. So Micah, I wasn't expecting Micah to just be her rah-rah, but Micah was definitely letting everyone know that this is about Colin and this is about the kids. He wasn't taking all of the energy. He wasn't doing none of that. He's humble as humble can be. He was just like a regular person. As a matter of fact, when he came through, it was like I said, we just had normal conversations. He wasn't even, it was just like he was just a regular person. That's the best way to say it. And, and the support that he gave is awesome. So Micah came through. A lot of people seeing the pictures of the dog that he got out there at the field. And
I
so,
didn't see that. So they posted that.
well, Mark Holmes, that's really so the
Yeah.
Dallas Morning News, they did a special on that, because they was there. They were interviewing Colin, they were interviewing Micah, they were interviewing everybody, but that's what they made their post about, the specific writer. It's kind of like the Dallas Morning News clip is called like Micah meets with a furry friend or something like that. Unites with a furry friend. They talking about the dog that we was obviously talking about. So it was just like, that was a crazy experience, So Micah is an animal lover. That's what he told me. He's a dog lover. He has several dogs. So Micah's one of them ones. Colin's one of them ones. Monica's one of them ones.
It just so happened we were dog sitting this weekend.
Yeah, we were.
Which is a whole nother adventure.
Yeah, shout out to Lolo, man.
And shout out to Mars. Mars the dog.
Mars, man. I'm gonna play that video.
Show that video.
Yeah.
What's up, Keystone?
Keystone went in chat.
Big Time Show.
Oh,
my new brother is on the show. Big Time Show. We're gonna get with you, Big Time.
Big Time, you been on my mind, man.
Yeah,
been on my mind, Big Time. I swear, you been on my mind. I tell you why later, but you been on my mind.
I've been go ahead and show that video from the camp this weekend.
Man, I'm gonna say Big Time. The Cowboys owe us, man. They gotta perform, because it's a lot on the line. All right, I'm gonna show this video. Where's a second? 1 second, let me see.
Bro, I love it, dog. These kids are characters, and I love it, bro. I love it, dog. They got so much like emotion, so many feelings, so many just everything. They just know how to express themselves in many different ways, and I just love that.
So you gotta flip the video. It's sideways. So the video is sideways. You gotta flip it.
Yeah, I do.
You wanna pause it and you do that?
Yeah, I'll pause it and then I'll show it. I'll flip it. That was super loud. On the plane head.
It was loud.
Have a great show. Oh, for sure. Be safe on that plane.
Safe travels.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip this, y'all. I'm gonna flip this real quick while my
so flying the plane. What
He
What are
said
Los?
home from Detroit.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. And I'm gonna flip this. So you can just chop it up with him. Let me flip this real quick.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna get into some Cowboys talk here and just kind of talk about the latest. We're gonna talk about Michael. We saw Michael this weekend and
Yeah.
talk about what we're hearing with the contract situation, and then talk about some of these surprise cuts that we might see. And then we saw that trade today with the Steelers and the Dolphins, which I thought was interesting. Uh, I think Mika Fitzpatrick is a much better player than Jalen Ramsey. So we got to talk about that. So I think
Somebody
is it
asked me
working?
about that today.
Did you get it?
I'm flipping it now. I'm flipping
Oh,
it
okay.
now. I'm gonna get it done. But somebody asked me about that trade today, and I was just like, now I'm not a Steelers fan. I'm not a Miami fan. I don't like either team, But my thing is just like that was really to me that was like a kind of insignificant trade. Well, my thing was just like I won't say insignificant. I'll say it like this. You know how teams can be one player away from taking them over the top. You know what I mean? I feel like with that trade, even if those teams were one player away, those wouldn't be the trades that take them over the top. So I just feel like I just the trade. I wouldn't have minded Jalen Ramsey, but the amount of money that he getting is like, nah, we don't need
It's a
that.
lot of money. Hey, check your audio because you don't sound like you're normal.
What do I sound like?
It just kind of has this kind of like it's like a feedback type thing. It doesn't sound like crisp and clear like you normally sound.
Okay.
But I mean, we can roll with it. It ain't bad, but it doesn't sound like the you normally would. But yeah, that trade, the Steelers, they trying to you know piece it together, and so I always my antennas go up. The Steelers, the 49ers, those are still my two big rivals. The
Uh-huh.
Steelers, they got that six Super Bowl, and I was just like,
What?
this, they, for years, we had five and they had four, you know, and then they won that fifth one. They beat the Seattle Seahawks in that Super Bowl that year. That was just really two bad teams, and the refs were just like all over the place in that game. So they got the fifth one, and then they played the Arizona Cardinals, which was another bad team. So hey, you got to play who you got to play, but for them to get that fifth and sixth Super Bowl, that still ain't sitting well with me because that's still for OGs like me, the Steelers and the 49ers, they still like the rivalry, and you ain't trying to see them do nothing.
Yeah, I got the Eagles, the Steelers, really the Steelers. But see, like I said, I like Mike Tomlin, But the Steelers, the 49ers, the Eagles, really the team that I just dislike the most is the Eagles. I just,
Yeah, so that's kind of like your generation. My generation is the Steelers and the 49ers because of the old rivals. Did you get the video done?
it's processing. It'll probably be
No,
another
okay.
3 or 4 minutes. So yeah,
Okay. Well, we
so
can
we can just when it's ready, we can just
yeah,
jump.
yeah, yeah, we can go back
But
to it. But yeah, that trade, but going back to Micah, as we said, we saw him Saturday, and everybody says this time of year, I'm in the best shape I ever been in. He's in the best shape he's ever been in. He looks great. I mean,
I,
he ain't playing around. He's in great shape. He looks great. He's ready. So I think mentally he's got the Cowboys over the Fishboro. So Micah is locked in. They cannot get around Micah. They're not gonna get around him. They gotta pay him. They gotta pay him what he wants. The Cowboys are in a pickle. It really shouldn't be, but and then Mike Fisher, he broke news late last week to me that nobody really talked about. When Mike Fisher says something, you can really just kind of lock it in. He gets it wrong occasionally, like some people do. But he was hearing that it's pretty much a done deal. The Michael contract is just some other things they gotta just formally do. But when Mike Fisher says something like that, I mean, I buy into it.
and like
You've
Boston.
been listening to Fish for a long time. So what do you think?
Oh, I agree with everything what you said. If Fish says it, you can take it to the bank. You know what I mean? You might have to listen to he might have a 15-minute video and give you one piece of information and it'll be at the 13-minute mark. But best believe that 13-minute mark, he's on it. And like Boss said, shout out to Boss. You know, Boss had some information and he was just like, he was being secretive with it. He has to, keep his sources. But no, like you said, I think the deal, from what I'm hearing, the deal is pretty much done. Uh Keystone said he can
Keystone,
say,
yeah. Ooh, man, I
"Oh,
don't
I
like it. I
hate
don't.
Green Bay."
The
I,
Packers are on their list for sure. That
yeah,
would, well, yeah, they up there. Yeah.
even my mama don't even like Green Bay. My
And I
mama
don't
don't
know.
like.
I've already circled the Packers game. I think we play them the fourth or fifth game of the season. Keystone, I'm locked in.
Yeah,
We got
no,
to
we
beat
gotta
them.
beat them.
Yeah.
We gotta beat them. We gotta beat them down. You know what I mean? I don't like them, and I don't like the Eagles, and I don't like Aaron Rodgers neither. So you know what I mean. So they ain't got nothing going for me. The Steelers don't. Um, but Micah being in the best shape, let me tell you, it's crazy when you stand next to Micah. Like I was standing next to him. When I say he in the best shape, he in the best shape. You know what I mean? And he's huge too. You know, he looked like an NBA player. That's how big he is. But he just fit. He stopped. He looked like he in linebacker shape to me. That's why it looked like, he can play linebacker, he can play corner, but he can play. I think that this
He
time
could play. He could play
around,
running back.
he could play running back. That's how good he looked. Now I think around this time around though, no, all the defensive coordinators, they always say, "Oh, we're gonna have Micah playing more linebacker than edge, or more off ball linebacker than he's ever played." For some reason, I think that this time that's gonna actually ring true. I think that he actually is gonna be back there at linebacker, and I think that Donovan Izaraku is too. I think that they're gonna have him standing up like a 3-4 linebacker, and fake rushing the passer, but then backing off and maybe doing something in the flats or something like that. Because he's I was talking to Junior and Kyrie. Shout out to them this weekend. Donovan Izaraku is gonna be a sleeper because a lot of the Cowboys fans, we wanted them to get a running back at that spot, and they got Donovan Izaraku. So we was kind of like, when they
He
first
reminds
drafted.
me of Colin.
He does now. That's a good comparison. Uh, but Donovan Izaraku is gonna be a baller. I can see that now. He's just, he's gonna be a baller. Now, after I play this video, I want to talk about that article you sent me, because that cleared up a lot of things that we didn't know. That cleared up a lot of
You read it?
yeah. We've been saying that we didn't know if Tyler Guyton was working with Duke. We didn't know, and the way Duke was talking about him, Duke said some things about him, like, hey, it's on him if he gonna play
Yeah.
good or not. It's on him.
I did think of all of the comments that they had for each player. We're gonna get into it. His was the most interesting compared to the other ones.
But to me, it just goes back to what I was saying earlier a couple of weeks ago about how he's just oozing confidence, and how he's
Mhm.
just, to me, it just looked like he owned one. And according to Duke Manyweather, with the article that we're gonna pull up and read, that those go hand in hand, because it's kind of like, when you think
Mhm.
about it,
So you gotta
it's
tell the
really
people what the article is.
yeah, I will. So it's really crazy how the Cowboys do this. They always draft a left tackle and he end up playing right tackle. Then they draft a right guard and he play left guard. Then they draft a guard and he end up playing center. And they call it cross training. But the way that Duke explained it, it makes sense. And then on top of that, the way that Tyler Guyton didn't play left tackle, in his college career at all. And then when he played right tackle, he only played like one season at right tackle. And he got taken in the first round as a left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys with a $60 million quarterback. So that's a lot of, pressure. So for this to be his second year around, and for a lot of people, that was asking a lot of people at camp, like, who has Tyler Guyton? Who do you think has had the most impact on Tyler Guyton since the last season and now, and what's the difference, and what's made the difference? and everybody has said the same thing. They've said Tyron Tyler Smith. And so the fact that Tyler Smith has kind of took him under his wing or whatever, it's looking good. I'm giving him. I think he's gonna have a good year. So I got this video. I think I got the orientation right. So let's see.
Bro, I love it, dog. These kids are characters, and I love it, bro. I love it, dog. They got so much like emotion, so many feelings, so many just everything. They just know how to express themselves in many different ways, and I just love that.
Hey, we going on Brown. We going on Brown. Y'all ready? Family on three, family on me. 1, 2, 3.
Don't you want your medal?
I want some pizza.
What about the medal, man?
These kids are characters, and I love it, bro. I love it.
So yeah, that's the video, and as you can see, Colin was looking great. The kids was having a great time, and Michael was looking great and having a good time too. I got some more videos of Michael that I can possibly show, but yeah, man, the camp was great, and Michael looked extraordinary, and so did Colin, and so, man, it's gonna be a good year for Micah. And I think that it's going to be a good year. Back to what I was saying, I think it's going to be a good year for Tyler Guyton, me personally. Now, of course, as Cowboy fans, that's what you want. That's what you want to hear. And it's, you know, it's kind of cliche, but at the same time, I really think that Tyler Guyton is going to have a good year.
Go ahead and pull the article up while you're pulling that up. So, but yeah, again, shout out to Clayton, cousin Clayton, and Colin, big brother, and Monica, cousin Monica. We had a great time Saturday, and man, it was like I said, when I told Monica when we wrapped up, it was a real camp. It wasn't no soft camp where you just had kids doing cupcake stuff. I mean, they was doing real drills in the heat, and hey, I had to tap out a couple of times, but the kids they was going at it. And the camp.
And the reason you don't see me on the video is because I was in the shade the whole time on the
and
side.
the camp, the volunteers were terrific, and they hung with the kids, and it was just really, really well done.
Super Monica.
Super Monica. It was a real camp for the kids, and they were all terrific.
So what?
Look how KC has joined us.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Uncle Squeak. He had a good weekend too. Yeah. So yeah, let me pull up that article. I gotta find
the article that he's pulling up is I can send it back to you if needed. So it's an article that Duke Manyweather was in. We can give credit to the right person that actually wrote the article. Let me see.
But anyway, is Garrett Podell,
CBS Sports.
Mm-hmm.
So he did an article talking about Duke Manyweather's the work he's done in the offseason with the Cowboys linemen, and how he is in alignment with Connor Riley, the offensive line coach, and the players as well. And he did a breakdown of each player, what he's working on with them. So he goes through the 5 starters, and it looks like they talked about in this article how some of the other position players, they went out of town with Dak, and people are doing other things. You saw Jake Ferguson, he's at the tight end camp. Where the O line, it looks like they really just stayed in town and they're working with Duke, and so they've
So
been
this is
working
what it
with him
says,
off
right?
and on.
So what you said, this is exactly what he said right here. He said these defensive players. Can y'all see it on the screen?
Yeah.
He said these defensive players are getting so good these days. We need to all get in the room and figure out how to stop these guys. So he was talking about uh, the NFL's top pass rushers do at their sack summit. So sack summit is kind of like a group of edge rushers, and they all get together, the best of the best, and they all work and they all share their techniques, and they share their techniques on what they do, and they do all of that. And so Duke created a O line summit, I guess you would call it, to with O line, and so they've gotten together. So to think that and to know that Duke Manyweather has brought 27 offensive linemen or more. This was in 2018 when it started, and he brought 27 then. So it's probably grown since then. But he's had great offensive linemen to come in and they all do their thing. And so to know that not only is Duke helping Tyler Guyton, but other offensive linemen like Rashawn Slater, other guys are helping him too. I think he's gonna have a good year, man. So let's go down to see exactly what he said about.
And so while you're doing that, and so I got a text from your mom. She said we need to mention that Collins Camp, and I did mention it earlier, but we'll talk about it again. But it's for kids that are on the autism spectrum and special needs kids. So that's the focus of the camp. And I did mention that there's not a lot of focus on that, unfortunately, in a lot of the cities, especially the inner city. So that's really what the camp was for. It was for kids on the autism and autism spectrum and special needs. So that's what the camp was for, and that's what we were doing on Saturday. So, but yeah, shout out.
And the actual camp, well, it was called a summer camp, but the focus is the program is called Clayton's Color Crew. Yeah. So it's CCC, and that's the actual name of the was it? I don't want to say it is a 501c3, right?
I'm not sure, but just speaking on that point, what we're gonna do, we're gonna actually have Monica on our show. So this is Colin Simmons' mom, Monica McCauley, our cousin, and we're gonna have her on, and she's gonna give the details about Clayton's Color Crew, what all they do, and then we're gonna talk about how you can
help, donate, and how you can
exactly
bring more focus to kids on the autism spectrum and on the spectrum. So she's going to come on and she's going to give everybody all the details, and we're going to have a full show dedicated to just that. So y'all stay tuned for that. And Monica, she be in the comments all the time. She watch our videos, but yeah, she's like I said, her nickname is Super Monica because she's a super mom. She's a super person. She's one of them ones, like we like to say. So we'll post the link and we'll have everything ready to go for that show. That's gonna be a special show. So we'll have everything ready to go for it. And let's see. So with this is the article that my dad shared with me, and this is what Duke had to say about Tyler Guyton. So they have it to where it's like Tyler Guyton, and they have what position he plays, and then they have his area of focus, as y'all can see. And to me, this is exactly what I wanted to see. I think this is exactly what he needed. Let me try to get this off the screen. What do you think about what he said? It says area of focus is posture, strength, and balance in his stance. It says,
yeah, I think he nailed it. So my green screen went out. It's the first time I've done that on this new thing we're doing.
Is your Ethernet hooked up?
Yeah, it's hooked up. I don't have anything else running either. But let me see if I can restart it while you're doing that. So you're talking about that.
All right. It says Tyler Guyton has been grinding all offseason to overcome what Tyler Smith labeled as a tumultuous rookie year for the 2020 for a first round pick, altering his diet and being much more intentional about his training. He made the transition from right tackle at Oklahoma, where he protected left-handed quarterback Dylan Gabriel's blind side in 2023, to protecting the right-handed Prescott's blind side in 2024. So you guys can see what he's talking about, and the fact that they're focusing on that, to me, is awesome. I think that is he gonna have a good year. My voice is going out. I don't know why,
But no, going back to that, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
But yeah, going back to the strength, posture, and his hands up the other one. That's really
Stance. It
stance. That's what we saw when you watched him play. He was just getting overpowered. He looked kind of awkward. So hopefully those are the things that he improves on. So go to who was the first one he had on the list?
Tyler Guyton was the first one.
He was? Okay.
Yeah.
So who was next? But yeah, I think Tyler Guyton is going to be much improved.
This is what I want to read this part. It says posture all throughout the rep. Stance, start, and finish. Posture all throughout the rep. The way that you stand, the way that your weight is transitioned on your feet, where your lean is, things like that. Guyton said. Knee bend, ankle flexion, and bold back. A bold back not being too relaxed and being somewhere in the middle where you're comfortable. You can move and be quick and efficient. See, this is what Tyler Guyton is saying. So,
and what kind of makes it hard for him too? He's 6'7". I don't know if there are any other tackles in the NFL that tall. And I don't know if that's like a good thing at that position. You probably want to be, and he has very long arms, which is good. But I just sometimes wonder if he just being so tall, it kind of makes it hard for him to put on muscle and weight. And then it kind of makes him, he looks awkward because he's so tall. So I would be curious to know what's the average size of the NFL tackle. I don't think they're 6'7". So, and the other thing also now, Tyler Smith. I don't think he's tall enough to play tackle. To me, he's a guard. So, and Tyler Smith has shorter arms too, which makes it hard to play tackle. So this is Tyler Smith right here.
Yeah, this is Tyler Smith right here. And his area of focus is getting out the ball quickly and establishing his first 3 steps to maximize leverage and power.
So I think when him playing guard, he's just much better at what they describe there. So he just really needs to put the finishing touches on his game. I think he's pretty solid. His first 3 steps to what did it say?
His first 3 steps to maximize leverage and power. Is he an all pro or is he just a pro bowler? He's an all pro, right?
Man, I think he did make all pro that first go around. You have to look it up. He didn't make it last year.
Tyler Smith is an all pro guard. Let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah.
You know how people don't understand how hard it is to be all pro.
Now, typically when you make that list, you just stay on there. So it's interesting that he made it, and then last year he wasn't on it. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for him to be all pro, he was the best. That means he was the best guard that year.
Yeah. So some of this stuff just comes down to wins too. When you're winning, it just it kind of locks you in. So I think he'll have a year where he's definitely going to be getting the all pro vote. So who's the next one?
I just looked up Tyler Smith. It says Cowboys all pro lineman predicted to earn at least $76 million.
And we don't want to hear it. They can't pay it.
No, we ain't
you know they can.
Cooper BB.
Yeah, this was a good one. Cooper BB. It said more reps and better utilization of his hands and
of his offhand.
Yeah. And that was just being a rookie. He played a new position his rookie year, so he's just gonna be better. I mean, it's just.
I mean, if he finished 65.4 at PFF and he was the 15th best among NFL centers as a as a
Mhm.
rookie, and on
Playing a
top of
new
that,
position.
a rookie playing a new position, and he wasn't even drafted in the first round. He's got
Yeah,
a new
he
offensive line coach that was his position coach at Kansas State. That is like, I don't know. He gonna be one of the best centers this year.
yeah, he's gonna be terrific. You ain't coming through the middle over him. And now this is the next guy. Again, Tyler Booker, number one draft pick. It says cross training to prepare for switch from left guard to right guard. Yeah, he's gonna be fine. He's a natural. I mean, he's just man. He pretty much is the textbook of what you want somebody to look like as a guard. Then he got a passion for the game. He really likes what he loves to play. He's a football guy. He got everything. So yeah, he gonna be great.
So this was one of the interesting parts of this article to me. It says when you train the other side you don't play on, not only does it stimulate the brain and the motor development, but it makes your non-dominant side better as well. It
Mhm.
eliminates any susceptibility as to asymmetries which can cause injury. So what ends up happening is guys play on their left side their entire career, and he'll start to have repetitive recurring injuries from having extreme internal rotation on the left side, and that's shortening him on the right side. So we're trying to train right and left as much as possible, and I think that's really important aspect of a player's health. you know. And like I said, for the Cowboys, that's probably very important because they do that often. They always draft left tackle and make them play right, and vice versa. And so, this is going to be a good year for them. So Terrence Steele, his area of focus was a more detailed approach to his handwork as well as increased mobility. So, he tore his ACL and his MCL, but he came back the next year, the next 2 years, and he played well. I mean, he always has
He played better the second half.
he always has a better second half of the season. To me, it just seems like we talk about him a lot at the beginning of the season, and toward the end of the season, we don't really be saying much. Um, so he
Yeah,
has to get better, but I feel like he's the least of the worries right now. I feel like if he can come in and be average, he'll be all right. As long as he's not coming off of an injury year, he should start off. He should get better as the season go on, but quicker than it normally is, or than it was last year, I guess.
yeah, he's really good at run blocking. He got to just work on his pass protection. That's his probably his weakest area. But yeah, that coming off that knee injury, this being your second year, he's just so again. A lot of these guys, they're just gonna be better now.
Mhm.
In Tyler Guyton's case, he just got to get way better than he was.
Shout out
Um,
to you, West Coast Cowboy.
Hey, what's up, West Coast Cowboy? Thanks for joining. One of the OGs, one of the legends in the content creating game.
For sure, for
Um,
sure.
for sure. So appreciate you joining. But yeah, so I think them working with Duke, I'm just really excited about that. It was some talk about maybe they were not working with him, but I think that was kind of a deal with Solari maybe. But it sounds like they're in alignment with the coaches, so that's really important. And then he's right across the street from the star, so it's just a natural thing for them to be able to work with him. But just a really good article. So I'm excited about the line. We're just gonna see, and just to since West Coast is with us, we really got to get this running game going, and they need to create natural running lanes because that's what we're gonna need with the backs that we have. They really gonna have to have good line play, and that's gonna be key for what we're doing. And they need to start early. That line needs to have a really good start if we're gonna have a good season.
Mhm. And also, you know, that kind of brings me to the surprise cuts. I think that we were talking about. A lot of people is talking about. A lot of people is talking about Deuce. Is Deuce gonna make it? I think Deuce is gonna be a surprise cut. because a lot of maybe not a surprise cut. A lot of people expect for him to be cut. So with the running backs, I think I'm high on the running backs. I'm not as high as I normally would be, but I just think that the way that the running lanes are gonna be, it's gonna be at least once or twice a game, at least once or twice a game where they're gonna open up a lane for Jaden Blue, and he gonna hit his head on the field goal post. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to be a great back like Bijan Robinson, or to have the agility to cut and to spin and to catch out the backfield and then just be an overall running back. But it's another thing when you're running 4.2s out here. When you're running 4.2s and 4.3s, it's not a lot of people in the NFL that's running them type of numbers. And Jaden Blue, his 4.3, it's not it's not like a woo, he ran a 4.3 and that's just awesome. No, he does that on a regular basis. So it's just like, no, he gonna have some games to where he gonna have blazing speed. You remember when we was watching John Ross? John Ross ran that 40 time at the combine, and we just lost our mind. Well, Jaden Blue ran the same type of number. I think he was even faster. So it's just like, nah. Jaden Blue is a running back. He had problems last year with fumbling. He's a shorter. He's like he can catch the ball out the backfield tremendously. When he get around some NFL coaches and they teach him how to up his game to the NFL type of game, I think he's gonna be good. He gonna,
So,
can we expect him to be as good as Tony Pollard? I think so.
so as we talked about on one of our earlier shows, you're higher on the running backs than I am. So I'm definitely just wait and see guy on this running back thing. I'm really concerned that it could be the same with this wide receiver by committee. That's why I say the line is going to be really key. So, you like Javonte Williams. You had him in your fantasy a couple of years ago. So he's coming off that knee injury as well. So look, I'm really excited to see what they do. I want to see these backs in preseason. And then, I'm always a first 4 game guy. I want to look at the first 4 games and then just kind of go from there. I always break the season up into 4 parts. Now they're playing 17 games, but so I just look at the first 4 games. I look at everything. I look at, what adjustments we need to make. So for me, the first 4 games, I'm looking at the running backs to see if we need to make a move. I don't know who you would trade for.
I don't know, but I want to say before we talk about that, I want to tell West Coast, hey, tell landlord to holler at me. I want to talk to landlord. We talk to everybody else, but that's my guy. Landlord is my guy, so I want to holler. I want landlord to come on the show because that's I rock with landlord tough.
Well,
I
we
watch
can we
a lot
can
of
get
his
West Coast on the show too.
West Coast come through. You got to come through. We got to chop it up. We want West Coast in the building, and I want landlord in the building personally. But when it comes to the running backs, I think we're gonna be fine. I think everybody's just, I think we're gonna be fine. That's just my opinion. And if we're not fine, I don't think we have the type of staff nowadays that's just gonna sit back and say, we not fine, we'll address it next year. I think that if
Yeah.
training camp starts and they feel like, nah, we not good, they gonna go get somebody.
So this is generation to generation Cowboys and sports talk. So we show that we don't agree on everything, even though we're father and son. So now me, running backs, Dwayne Thomas, Tony Dorsett, Emmett, Zeke. We had DeMarco Murray. That's the kind of running back I'm used to the Cowboys having. So you're probably like a more patient and more understanding of the not having a star. But the Dallas Cowboys, they always have to have a star running back. But that's just kind
But
of what.
see, this is my thing. Tell me what running back. See, the running back to me is a universal type of position. It's just like, for instance, if you was to go a whole offseason and say, Michael Parsons, we want you to play running back. Will Michael Parsons be successful? Odds are it's a very good possibility. It's a very high possibility he might be
I,
high.
I would take Michael Parsons right now over our running back room.
That's my point. That's my point. It's just such a universal position that you don't have to be Bijan Robinson to play running back. You don't. You can just last year. What running back that we have that was bad besides Zeke? And we know that Zeke was out of position. He should have just been a situational back that get you 1 or 2 yards when you need it, punch it in on the goal line, get you 3rd and 1, get you 1 and 2 yards. We didn't need
I
him
think
to be running up and
I,
down.
I think Rico was good. I think Rico is better than everybody that we got right now.
No, but my question was who was bad, and there is no.
So we had Rico. Who were our other backs?
We had Rico. We
I can't
had
even remember who we had.
Zeke.
That's
We had Rico, Zeke. We had Malik on practice squad. We had Hunter Lupke. We had, I mean, they even put Cavante Turpin back there a couple times. We had Deuce Vaughn on practice squad, the special team. Now Deuce Vaughn didn't make it. He wasn't that good. He hasn't been good. But my point is that Malik Davis could have played last year and been fine. Rico could have played all year and been fine. Uh, anybody, the only person that they didn't want to that we couldn't have made it with was Zeke because he's just not that type of guy and he's not there in his career. But I said all that to say that when have we had bad running backs? We just haven't had bad running backs. Each
I
year,
think last year was our worst year.
and Rico hit 1,000 and didn't even play every game.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
he didn't have a bad year. He hit 1,000 and he didn't even play the full game. If he would have played every game like he was supposed to, he probably would have got 1,200, 1,300. Who knows? But they was doing dumb stuff like playing Zeke. On giving the wanting Zeke
but
to
you also you had several backs in the draft that you wanted, and they would have been good for our team. You had the running back from Iowa. His name escapes me at the moment. What was his name?
Caleb Johnson.
You wanted Caleb Johnson. You liked the running back from Miami. Was it Martinez?
Martinez.
So I think
I
all of
wanted to
those
run
guys.
back that went to the Seahawks a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I want a good running back. I want a running back that's special. But my point is that if they're not special, that doesn't necessarily mean that
Yeah.
you're booked at the position. What's the difference between Damian Martinez and Jaden Blue? I don't know the difference between the two
I
of them.
think I think Damian Martinez is more of a starting to me, a more of a first. He's a every down starting running back, whereas Blue is still kind of, I
I
like
don't think
I
that
like
exists
I like
anymore.
Blue.
I don't
Yeah,
think that exists anymore. That the every down back thing is not smart, and it just doesn't. It doesn't really. All of these running backs they need a break. You need a two back. You need a tandem nowadays in the NFL. That's
you
why
do.
Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley are still running around because when they were first entered the league, they had partners. Unlike Zeke,
Yeah.
Zeke was a featured back, and now look at him. They still running, and he's not. You know what I'm saying? Because of what? Because of that. Because he was an every down back. So it didn't. You don't forget about the year that they had brought in the year before Zeke when they brought in that journeyman running back and he hit 1,000. When they had Tony Romo, it was after DeMarco Murray, I think. Or it might have been before them. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? When they brought in
Mm.
that running back that had played for the Raiders all them years, I think. And then he came in and he hit 1,000.
I'm trying to
And it
remember
was
who
just,
you're talking about. I don't know, but
but you can just bring in somebody and they'll be good. You don't necessarily have to say like it ain't like wide receiver where it's only a few CD Lambs, it's only a few George Pickens, and you can name them. Nick Chubb came in last year off of a messed up knee. Did he mess his knee up last year or did he come back last year off a messed up knee? Whenever he came back the last time he played, he looked good. Kareem Hunt, is an older running back. You put Kareem Hunt in our system, he gonna be fine. Look at Joe
yeah.
Mixon last year. He's an older back. You know what I'm saying? Joe Mixon was running like he ain't never ran before. He was
So
looking.
I think I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, what I'm saying is the guys that we have. I think all of the running backs that you mentioned, I just don't think they're on that level like Joe Mixon, and I think Joe Mixon was the number one pick, wasn't he? But yeah, but we'll see. We're gonna see if your confidence in in the running back room pans out, and we'll just kind of see how it comes together. But I'm definitely going to be looking at how they come together, and I think the line is going to be critical. So we kind of
The line gonna be
winding
critical.
down.
The line is gonna be good, I think.
Yeah. So we talked about where we think Micah's contract is. We think we thinking it's going to get worked out. And so, I think based on what we're kind of hearing and what we're seeing,
I
he's
was talking
probably
about
going to
Darren.
move.
I was talking about Darren McFadden.
Oh, Darren McFadden. Okay, yeah, that was a while back. So yeah,
Mhm.
but
He was
but
just a he
yeah,
was just an older running back that came in and got 1,000 because it's just not. It's just
yeah,
not. No, it ain't that. It's not like you don't necessarily need a first round running back to have a good run to have a good run scheme. Like look at these guys that like what's my guy from Tampa that we could have got Bucky Irvin. No, these guys they be coming out of college. You can get a good running back in the second, third round, fourth round, and you'll be
yeah.
all
But
right.
we didn't take any.
No, we did. We just took Jaden Blue.
Yeah, but he was. So when you and I did mock drafts, every mock draft we did, we took we took two backs,
Shout out
and
to
so
Deezy. You watching?
hey Dizzy, so we took two backs in every mock draft that we did. Jaden Blue was always the second back. We took Jaden Blue, we had him in the fifth and sixth round, but what we did in our mock draft, we took a back sometimes in the second, sometimes in the third. So that's what I really wanted to see.
We was team weapons. We was not coming out the first 3 rounds without a wide receiver and a running back.
Yeah, and we took Jaden Blue pretty much in every draft, and then if we didn't take Jaden Blue, we took Damian Martinez. So
But
our plan was to have two backs, but we just got
like
one
I'm
of them.
saying, what we've seen with this regime of Cowboys is every glaring hole or problem that needed to be addressed, they've addressed it. They did the same thing with running back. We were saying there's no way we can just go in here with CD. They addressed it. You know what I mean? So, it was no way that we're going to go out here with these linebackers that we got. They addressed it. So I feel like they're going to address the running back situation if it needs to be addressed. I feel like they're going to address cornerback if it needs
Okay,
to be addressed.
so
Because if you
that's
got Jaden Blue as your as your second running back, then that problem is solved at that point, right?
and don't get me wrong. Let me say this, and I'm still the team building standpoint.
Yeah.
I would be a whole lot more comfortable if we had um, Caleb Johnson, Javante Williams in blue. If we had Martinez, Javante Williams in blue. So that's kind of where I am. I want blue to be in the mix. I'm okay with Javante Williams getting some carries, but I just want another guy that just has more talent. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But like you said, you feel they're gonna address it. We're gonna see how it plays out. Now we got to talk about that corner too, because I saw today somebody posted that they still got Stephon Gilmore in their back pocket. That's the other domino that we need to fall. I'm still not really cool with the way this corner thing is shaping up, and I want to see another corner added as well. When we watch after we watch preseason. So you ready to go ahead and wrap?
Yeah, we can go ahead and wrap. I'm looking at the best player on every NFL roster that's currently on NFL roster that could still be cut. I'm looking out here to see what
So
running
who are
backs.
the, who are the running backs in the corners?
What is Travis Etienne doing? Did he get
I, I
signed?
I don't know, but I don't like him.
What about Zach Moss from the Bengals? I like
Man,
him.
I cannot tell you what Zach Moss looks like. I haven't seen him play a lot. He plays for the Bengals.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's better than the guys that we got here.
What happened with Devin Singletary?
Devin Singletary was a guy that I liked about a couple of years ago. But yeah, so what are the corners that they're showing?
Damn, I'm not really seeing any on this list.
That's the other thing. We may just be in a pickle because it may not even be any good backs that we can trade for. And they had a chance to draft a back. They could have drafted Devin Neal. He was there. Damian Martinez. They were all on the board. So you might get what you want with this running back thing. It may not be anyone that we can trade for.
They got Jaquan McMillan. Didn't he get signed already?
He's a corner.
That was the one I was talking about a couple shows ago that I really wanted them to see from Denver. The Jaquan McMillan. I think he did get signed. They don't have any other cornerbacks on here besides him.
Mark Holmes was shout out to Mark Holmes. He was talking about Kyle Pitts today, but I don't think that's going to happen. But he threw it out there.
I mean, they could. Why would they do if they wouldn't? They need to do Kyle Pitts. They need to do running back and cornerback before they do tight end. We got a couple of serviceable tight ends on our roster besides Jake Ferguson. I don't think Kyle Pitts would be. He wouldn't be a But yeah, we've been on for an hour, so we can go ahead and wrap. We appreciate y'all coming out and supporting. We appreciate everybody logging on.
West Coast Cowboy.
Yeah, West Coast Cowboy. We really appreciate you. First time we've seen you in the coming, but we're long time subscribers and watchers of your show for sure. Yeah, holla at us so we can get you on because we can pick your brain and we can chop it up with you about a couple of things. He had a video the other day that I watched that said why y'all hate Dak so much, and I was just like, man, you know what? That's you know what? That's
well, he did. And they did a show. Him, Landlord, and Henny. I think it was Saturday. I watched that one. That was a good show.
Call it the Boss Land. They call it the Boss Land something.
Well, no, that's the one with Landlord and Boss. The one that they did Saturday is their show that they normally do.
But yeah, why y'all hate Dak so much? I don't know. And so what we're gonna be talking about is we're gonna do a series of shows, and we're gonna do a series of shows, and it's gonna be based off of the 30-year drought.
I think they did the liquor store Saturday.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna do a series of shows, and it's gonna be based upon and revolving around the 30-year drought. And we're gonna be pointing out key things and what our opinions is on the 30-year drought. And I can tell you for one, my number one topic when we talk about that is going to be it ain't the quarterbacks. It's not Dak's fault that the Cowboys have been in a 30-year drought, and it ain't Tony Romo's fault either. It's not their fault that the Cowboys haven't won in 30 years, So that's not it. You can't just get a quarterback and then all of a sudden the 30-year drought ends because that quarterback is good. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to have your GM have to be rocking. Your offensive line coach got to be rocking. Your special teams coach got to be rocking. Your coordinators got to be good. Your offense and defense got to be good. You can't, you have to have a whole total package, like the Eagles last year. I use this as an example. Jalen Hurts didn't have the best year of his career last year, but they won. But also their front office seen that they had a glaring hole and said, you know what, let's go get Saquon Barkley. And when that happened, that pushed them over the top. So I don't think without that move, they win. And so it is what it is. You got to have everybody. So, we'll see.
We'll talk about it, yeah.
We're going to talk about it, but we appreciate y'all for coming out. We appreciate y'all for liking, commenting, and subscribing. So make sure you hit the notification bell and make sure you stay tuned. We should be coming back. What's today? Monday?
We'll come back Wednesday.
We'll come back Wednesday. So we appreciate y'all for rocking with us, and we'll see y'all then.